Hello everyone, welcome to my VLOG1 for module 7108 of the St. Mary's University MSc course in Strength and Conditioning. This vlog is about skills versus capacities issues in the weight room. I will show you two distinct weight room movements, and each of these movements will be performed twice by different athletes. Before I start with the actual movement analysis, I believe it is important to define and distinguish the two key concepts of this vlog, skill and capacity issue. Regarding the skill issue, it is directly related with motor control, and the ability to actually execute the skill will be determined by the familiarity with the movement or even possible adjustments to a previous capacity limitation. This problem can often be improved by accurate coaching. This will be possible to observe in this vlog during my description of the skills restricted movements. The capacity issue is exclusively related with limitations regarding the actual capacity qualities needed to perform a certain movement, such as force production or mobility restrictions. The first case to be discussed will be a back squat movement associated with a skill issue. The athlete is 15 years old, football player, and currently doing rehabilitation after ACL reconstruction on the left knee. When observing the videos, it appears to occur a hip shift to his left side, which is actually the leg that was submitted to the surgery. Normally, for these athletes, an opposite side shift would be expected to avoid excessive loading of the knee. However, it is clearly visible, particularly in the frontal and posterior planes, that his pelvis shifts to the left side, creating an exaggerated abduction and external rotation of the right hip at the parallel squat position. In the lateral plane, the athlete also seems to be slightly twisting the barbell clockwise, since we can see the opposite side weight plate pop up in the back. In order to further evaluate this clockwise twist, I asked the athlete to perform a back squat until the barbell hit the rack. I placed a pipe at his feet to make sure that he was not starting in an already rotated position. Using the position of the barbell after the contact with the rack, it was possible to confirm the rotation simply by counting the built-in screws in the rack. After taking a closer look at the starting position of the left knee, there was a clear flexion occurring, which could create a slight flexion of the hip and consequently produce an unwanted rotation of the pelvis. I knew that there was not a limitation in his capacity to completely extend the knee, so I gave him specific exercises to stimulate a fully extended position of his knee while weight-bearing. Another prescribed exercise was a bodyweight sitting squat in the very end part of a bench. He needed to adjust his pelvis position, otherwise it could not make proper contact on the bench with his bum. The exercise was done in front of a mirror for visual feedback and with an added band in the knees to stimulate symmetric action of his glutes. Also, an exercise consisting of an actual barbell back squat movement was done. I used the rack supports to stop the characteristic twisting motion of the barbell and asked him to squat down. The inability to rotate his pelvis and trunk demanded an adaptation of his body position to a straight vertical bar path. After the intervention, a reassessment was done, starting with the same improvised test for twisting motion of the barbell. This time, he was able to maintain the trajectory of the barbell, which can be verified by its ending position on the rack. The same anterior, posterior, and lateral views of the back squat were recorded. The left side hip shift in either the anterior and posterior planes was also improved, and both hips showed similar degrees of abduction and external rotation. In the lateral view, the twisting is also reduced since it was not possible to see the opposite side weight plate at any time during the squat. Okay, that's it for this athlete. The previous capacity limitation regarding its knee surgery was one of the factors that created this skill issue. As so, it was also possible to verify the importance of applying efficient coaching strategies to help the athletes in achieving the best movement pattern. The next case will evaluate the capacity issue in the back squat. The athlete is a 16-year-old sprint runner. Anterior and lateral planes of the movement were recorded. Looking at the anterior plane, it is clear that both feet seem to show an exaggerated externally rotated position. The same thing applies to his hips regarding abduction and external rotation. In the lateral view, it is evident that the athlete fails to reach the parallel squat position. This might be related with the reduced dorsiflexion angle of his ankle, causing a noticeable anterior trangling. This would also explain the position of his hips and feet in the anterior view. Therefore, it was suggested that he had a capacity problem regarding his dorsiflexion. Functional tests were done which confirmed his inability to reach an optimal position in his ankle to properly squat. The result of a knee-to-wall test came in at 3 cm to his right ankle and 4 cm to his left, which can arguably exemplify overall poor ankle mobility. The intervention strategy consisted of varied dorsiflexion drills, such as band-assisted movements or isometric holds during a step-down, which required this exact position in the ankle. Additionally, goblet squats were performed since it allows a greater depth in the squat based on the position of the weight and its influence on the center of mass. The same thing applies to the pole squat, which facilitates technical control during the full movement and familiarizes the athlete with the deep squat position. Finally, I asked the athlete to repeat the back squat with his heels elevated by a small strap weight. This would work as a representation of a weightlifting shoe, which can help with achieving a deeper squat. In the anterior plane, it is possible to see that the athlete reaches a good depth without exaggerating in his hip external rotation and abduction. For the lateral plane, it is clear that he was able to achieve a lower position into the parallel squat, even if maintaining a significant anterior trangling. The following example shows a skill issue with a barbell overhead press. The athlete is a 27-year-old football player. In this case, the skill issue was exclusively related with the low familiarity with the movement and shows the importance of coaching cues in immediately correcting the technique. It was therefore a straightforward approach which did not require an extensive analysis. From the anterior view, it is possible to identify that the placement of his hands is too wide on the barbell, resulting on a poor grip with excessive wrist extension. Also, as he starts the movement to press the barbell, the elbows expectedly flare out away from his body. Additionally, looking from the side view, it is clear that the barbell stays too much in front of him, not allowing the shoulder to reach full range of flexion. After using some simple cues such as telling him to keep the hands closer on the barbell just outside of the shoulders and to press the barbell all the way up until it vertically lines up with his feet, he showed straight away significant improvement in his form. Reviewing again different frames from the movement, the hand position and grip are now considerably improved. Therefore, the forearm is also in a much more vertical angle relative to the floor. Moreover, even if not ideal, his elbows do not show the same degree of flaring as before. Finally, looking at his form from the side, it is clear that the barbell end position is aligned with his feet, which require the shoulder to reach full flexion. Finally, the last case of this vlog assesses a capacity issue during a barbell overhead press. The subject is a former paddle player, 44 years old, currently rehabbing subacromial impingement syndrome on his right shoulder. Anterior and lateral views of the movement were recorded and analyzed. As he presses up, the left arm and shoulder seem to be leading the direction of the barbell, causing an unleveled position relative to the ground. This might indicate global weakness of the shoulder flexors and the external rotators. However, as he reaches the end position of the press, he is not able to completely lock out the right elbow in this position. On the lateral view, it is possible to observe that he is able to reach an adequate overhead position of the shoulder. In order to achieve this position, he loses the ability to maintain a straight lumbar spine. To further investigate this limitation, I asked the former paddle player to do some simple shoulder flexion drills. Firstly, without any restrictions, and secondly, maintaining a rectified lumbar position. It can be seen that as he flexes both shoulders with a fixed position of his spine, the right shoulder does not reach the full range of motion. Knowing that he had a capacity issue, both related with mobility and force production, I prescribed some specific exercise to correct his limitations. Isometric banded-resisted external rotation combined with shoulder flexion was done for promoting shoulder strength and stability. The same thing applies to a dynamic resisted external rotation with mirror feedback. Additionally, core stability exercises with constraints regarding shoulder position were also performed to facilitate the lumbar spine stability. Finally, an easier derivative of the press was done using light dumbbells in a seated position. The dumbbell challenges the shoulder stability while overhead, whereas the seated position allows for a more controlled way to manage lumbar extension during the flexion of the shoulder. Okay, that's it from me guys with this vlog 1 about skills versus capacities issues in the weight room. Thank you for listening.